sorry that I have just inconvenienced you by starting the show. You are so upset with me.
Like 10 minutes.
Up until he's like, hey, it's 6 o'clock. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. And then I'm sitting here looking at you, and you're like, hey, did you see the giant tits on this Genshin Impact character?
June leads us to a small storage room off to the side of the bar, and we rush inside to find Aya seating on a stack of boxes, her arm held protectively against her stomach. She attempts to smile, but doesn't last long until she's groaning in pain and cursing under her breath. Riona lets a small sound and rushes to her side.
What have you done to yourself now? It wasn't my fault. Some asshole was trying to grab me, so I decked him.
I swear I heard Riona's mumble, not again, under her breath, but over the music pumping throughout the club, I can't be sure.
Can you help her, Rai? I'll go and round up the others. Yes, we'll be fine. Otto can help me with this.
June leaves the room, shutting the door behind him. As he goes, I step next to Riona, waiting for instructions.
Aya, what have I told you about getting into bar fights?
Always call you first?
That I should do it only if I know I'm gonna win?
Nice. Riona gives her a withering glare, and Aya lets out a guilty bubble of laughter.
Oh, don't worry. It wasn't much of a fight.
What happened?
Nothing much, really. Something clearly did.
Aya cocks her head to the side a little, making a face while she mulls over exactly how much to tell us.
Let's just say it's generally never a good idea to punch someone who has a bionic face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aya! What were you thinking?
So she really did punch a wall. Aya shrugs, the silver tips of her hair falling casually around her shoulders.
That I wanted to shut the prick up?
Aya bit back a string of curses as Riona took her hand and flipped it over to check the damage. So where's the guy now?
Probably off crying in a corner. Pretty sure I gave his tin can a nice dent. A kind reminder not to touch people like that.
I thought June broke you guys apart.
Oh, he did. Ouch, Rai. Take it easy, will you? That's what you get for throwing punches in Las Vegas. I'm sorry, okay?
I'm sorry, okay? Riona merely raises an eyebrow at her, and Aya smiles immediately, slides back into place.
Sorry I didn't hit him harder, that is.
An ungrateful snort escapes me, and even Riona has a hard time keeping the smile off her face. How bad is her hand, Riona?
It looks like it might be broken, or fractured at the very least. I'll have to run some scans to know for sure. Otto, will you see if you can get me a bowl of ice from the bar? It will help with the swelling until we can get Aya back to the ship.
Of course. I stand to head back out to the bar, stopping only when Aya calls out to me.
And no stopping to ogle a certain strapping captain, you hear me? We have a medical emergency on our hands.
Oh my god, everyone knows.
You were staring at his ass, probably.
No.
Ha! On our hands, you get it?
I roll my eyes at her joke, smirking before throwing her an obscene hand gesture, to which she only laughs harder. Closing the door behind me when I leave the room, I start heading toward the bar in search of a bowl of ice. I lean against the counter, immediately regretting the decision when I feel the stickiness of who knows what stuck to my sleeves.
Ugh.
Disgusted, I turn back around, stopping in my tracks, and a glint of red catches my eye between the sea of bodies in the room. I can't explain why, but something about that particular shade of red seems so familiar. Before I even realize what I'm doing, my feet are already weaving through the room, pushing between the dozens of people around me. When did this bar get so crowded?
Oi, watch it.
Sorry.
Your mom stopped dancing there.
I mumble an apology, too fixated on the trail I'm on to stop now. When I get a little closer, I realize that what I've been following is a shock of red hair. The man stops at the exit, looking around a little before disappearing through the door and out into the street. My heart pumps in my chest with an urgency I can't explain, and a voice in my head whispers, follow him, over and over, so utterly relentless that I hear nothing else. I fall behind, desperately pushing my way through the last few feet of the crowd, growing hot and sweaty between so many bodies. When I finally reach the exit, I stop to catch my breath, looking up and down the crowded street for any sign of the man. I see nothing but usual vendors and street food carts, but I know he must be around here somewhere. He couldn't have just vanished into thin air. Breathlessly, I pick a direction, letting my feet guide me until I'm standing at the mouth of a dimly lit alleyway. A single solitary streetlight casting an eerie glow over the broken furniture and old trash littering the ground.
That's not ominous at all.
Deciding I'd rather not chance an encounter in a dingy old alley, I turned to head back to the Clurrb, stopping only when a noise echoes through the darkness, the sound of breaking glass. I hesitate, an ear turned toward the alleyway, listening for any signs of movement. With newfound determination, I straighten up and muster my courage, taking one step and then another into the darkness. A thought enters my mind as I put one foot in front of the other. It could be a trap, and like an idiot, I didn't tell any of the crew where I was going when I left the club. I fumbled with the leather sheath that Damian gave me earlier, buckled around my thigh, and pulled out the dagger, holding it tight in my hand. I wasn't so sure about it earlier, but I'm glad I decided to take it, knowing that if worse comes to worst, I can defend myself. Stealing my nerves, I creep through the alley, towering toward the source of the noise, only to find it empty. I look around, peering as far as the darkness as my eyes can manage, though all I find are shadows. Was it just a rat?
You shouldn't follow strangers into dark alleys.
A voice startles me from behind, cool breath skittering over my skin and sending a shiver down my spine. But I can't turn around. I can't move. After feeling the brush of a cold blade against my throat.
And with a dagger no bigger than a butter knife? Tisk, tisk. You're not even holding it right.
He leans closer still, and when he speaks again, his voice is a seductively dark rasp in my ear.
Who are you and why are you following me?
I swallow thickly around the lump of fear in my throat,
Wow.
trying to keep my cool.
What a thick swallow in this game.
My name is Otto. The man behind me sucks in a breath and spins me to face him, cutting my words short, and my head falls to the ground because he never moved the knife. I can't see his face clearly through the shadows, but I feel his eyes raking over me and the shock dripping from him when he takes a step back and lets out a shaky breath.
It can't be. No.
It is.
Your Highness, you're alive?
Ba ba ba! End of episode 2!
Episode 3.
I make my way through the crowd, sliding around a dark and dodgy-looking dance floor before I push aside the curtain into the back of the room and freeze. There we go. Hey!
Aya, please come down for there. You're going to break a leg.
June is so perplexed.
Lighten up, cowboy. The only thing I'm breaking is hearts.
Surveying the scene in front of me, it doesn't take long for the realization to dawn. Hidden in the back of the arc behind a dirty red curtain and a crowd of sleazy patrons is a strip club. Long-haired dancers swing around poles or dance in sand-filled glass bubbles that hang from the ceiling, while patrons of all species and sizes cheer them on. I would say that I'm surprised, but after meeting Oppo earlier, I'm really not. The sight of June and Ayame shouting at each other over the music, however, I could have never planned for. Pushing my way through the dozen people, I join June beside the small stage. He turns to me with an exasperated look, his arms falling to his sides in defeat, and leans in so I can hear him better.
A little help, Otto?
I watch Aya as she spins around a pole that goes all the way from the stage up to the roof, her laughter drowned out by the boom of the music.
I'm gonna let you choose.
Yeah, you need all the help you can get. Yep, I think right about now you need all the help you can get. June drags a hand over his face in defeat, letting out a low chuckle.
Thank you for that, Captain Obvious. Are you going to help or not? Woohoo! June! Look! Look!
Our heads whip toward Ayame right as she leans backwards on the pole and flips herself upside down, her hair hanging in long waves beneath her.
Cool, right?
I glance at June, who seems to be on the verge of having a panic attack, and decide that I should probably intervene. That's great. I love Ayame. Aya, maybe you should come down now.
No way. Grandpa June is trying to kill my vibe. Don't let him suck you in.
Aya laughs and hooks an ankle around the pole, spinning around so many times I feel dizzy just watching her.
I'm not trying to kill your vibe. I'm trying to make sure you don't hurt yourself. Chill out, Dad. Loosen up before you end up with this stick in your ass the size of the captain's.
I mean, if that's what he's into, that's what he's into. Their eyes lock on each other, unflinching and interrupted only when Aya twirls around the pole, her face appearing a mere moments later to continue the glaring match. I glance between them awkwardly. What have I got myself into with this crew? Just let Ayame just live her life. Girl, get crazy. June, I think we should leave Aya to have her fun. We can keep a lookout from one of those booths over there. I point to the edge of the room where half a dozen people and I overclick. I point to the edge of the room where a half dozen circular booths line the wall, most of them unoccupied thanks to Aya's performance.
I knew I liked you for a reason.
June looks at me helplessly before his shoulders drop, and he relents with a small sigh.
All right, let's go.
He holds out a hand and gestures to the crowd with a nod of his head. I'll play the field.
June is a very good choice. He's a very soft boy and very tall.
I place my hand in his, and the warmth of his fingers close around mine as he gently guides me through the crowd and to an empty, darkened booth in the corner of the room. The air is cooler here, and I take in a deep breath, grateful to escape the stuffiness and the bodies surrounding the stage. There's a shimmering sort of force field in front of the seating area, and once we pass through the music dulls to a low hum. I suppose to give people a chance to talk somewhere quieter. I slip into the circular booth, finding a spot where I can easily see the stage. June slides in next to me, his shoulder brushing mine, and his eyes hard as he glances in Aya's direction. Why do you worry about her so much? June startles at the question, his gaze flicking from the stage back to me.
Oh, I don't know.
He hesitates, and I get the impression that he's not only Ayame that June looks out for. He's a protector, someone that the crew can rely on. That much is clear.
I suppose it's because she's already been through so much. I don't want anything else bad to happen to her.
A small smile tugs at the corner of his mouth, and he glances at the stage again.
You know, it was Aya who convinced me to join the crew. Not on purpose. She actually told me it was a good thing when I turned them down at first. I think being stuck alone with Calderon and Damon was getting to her. But there was something about her, something that reminded me of...
He trails off, and a shadow of sorrow crosses over his face.
Anyway, I knew she was the kind of person I wanted in my life. And also, she has a knack for getting herself into trouble, so I guess that's why I worry.
He smiles at me softly, and I can't help myself from asking the next question that crosses my mind. Are you interested in Ayame? Like, romantically? June's eyebrows shoot sky high, his soft gray eyes widening in surprise.
Oh, no, it's not like that. I think of her more like a younger sister. That's why I don't like people looking at her the way that crowd was.
That's a loud cheer. There's a loud cheer and some shouting from a near stage. And when my gaze snaps to the source, is to find that Aya has pulled some poor soul up onto the stage with her, the two of them spinning around the pole at alarming speed. Again, I can see June's anxiety starting to spike, so I think quickly of how I can distract him while Aya has her fun. Let's talk about you. By the way his eyes snapped to mine, that seems to have done the trick.
About me? Why?
Well, I know so little about you, I'd like to get to know you better.
Oh, I suppose you're right. Though, to be honest, I don't often share a lot of myself with others.
Oh my.
The way his face drops so suddenly makes the room feel dark, and I find myself wishing he would smile again. You spend so much time looking out for the crew. Who looks out for you? He gives me a strange look, but then his lips quirk, just a little.
Oh, I don't need anyone looking out for me.
I think everyone needs someone. His eyebrows dip in the middle, and he lets out a short sigh.
I like the idea of that, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't share a lot of myself with others.
How much can we play the field in this game? Do I have to take
Up until
someone?
Chapter 6? Chapter 6, you have to lock into a route.
Okay.
But until then, play the field.
Alright. Because I really like June.
He is a sweetheart.
I nod slowly before I glance toward the stage, making sure Aya is still in sight. I spot her easily dancing with a few other people on the stage and looking like she's having a blast. After seeing that she's perfectly fine, I turn back to June. You don't seem like a mercenary. He chuckles softly and sits up a little straighter in his seat.
What does that mean?
I don't know. You care about others, you protect them, you save me back on Goldus.
I wasn't always like that. When I was growing up back on Orion, I was...
He cuts himself off abruptly, his jaw going tight. I can see whatever this is a sensitive topic. Perhaps it's best not to make him talk about it, not right now anyway. Could you tell me more about Orion? He still seems a little on edge, but he agrees with a nod of his head.
Sure, what do you want to know?
Anything, really. I'm hoping something familiar might trigger a memory.
Of course.
June relaxes a little more, his shoulders loosening as he gets comfortable.
Well, Orion was the first planet humans inhabited when they were forced to leave Earth.
First, okay.
It had a stable environment, suitable agriculture, and cohabitation with native
Any place that has
wildlife.
humans is not a stable environment.
Not for long.
You went forward without me finishing.
Ha! Where did you leave off before
What we call
Adam
humans.
interrupted you?
Despite being smaller than Earth, it was a good place to start. Unfortunately, its size was what started the problems. The planet quickly became overpopulated, flora and fauna were dwindling at an alarming rate, and
You
this...
should probably build a lot higher. Smaller.
This is
lower
not the
gravity.
Jetsons, Adam.
No, smaller planet means lower gravity.
And the solution they came up with was to take those who were willing to pay and move them to Goldus.
So the 1% got to go to the fancy planet.
Yes.
But what about the natives? Surely life existed where the humans moved to those planets.
Orion had no native humanoid species, or so we were led to believe. There were plenty of animals, but most went either extinct or became endangered after humans took over.
Surprising? Absolutely fucking no one.
Goldus, I think, was a different story. Even today, there are rumors of people who live below the surface near the underground lakes.
He makes a small, unimpressed sound as he shakes his head.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Were there really two perfect planets that existed with no former life waiting for us to take them? Or is that just what they wanted us to believe?
Yeah, that's never happened in the course of human history. People just be discovering fucking land. Ain't nobody there. Just put in all kinds of settlements and colonies.
I can't remember if Greenland is...
Colonizing, you might say.
Who said that? I didn't say that.
Can't remember if Greenland has a native population.
Probably.
And then we discovered Terranium and Cursa after that. Humans worked with the Catalphans, eventually subjecting them to their rule. And with Arcano habitable by only by the Arcanos, only one alien stronghold remained.
Is it Arcanos or Arcnos? Because there's no other A in there. You're saying Arcanos. I think it's Arcnos.
I don't know. There's a pronunciation guide somewhere. I don't remember where. Talaran.
Drew makes a face, a kind of grimace, and I can't quite tell what his thoughts are on all of this.
Anyway, you asked about Orion. The planet itself is beautiful enough, modern cities, vast oceans. Now with Catalpha gone, Orion is the center for science and engineering. Private prisons.
Oh, you okay, Megan? Sounds like you're coming down with a case of the military-industrial complex.
Well, she's got a military-industrial complex.
He hesitates as... Oh, sorry, that's you.
You bitch! He hesitates as he looks down at the table, his fingers instinctively going to one of the bracelets that sits around his wrist.
The mining business was, and still is, their most profitable sector. Nickel and iron ore, mostly, but there's another mine, and it's...
People? He struggles with the words, disgust and bitterness lacing his words so thickly I find it harder and harder to distinguish the gentleman beneath.
Deep in this mine, they discovered a substance, a green glowing metal, something much older and much more dangerous than anything the humans had crafted up until then.
Oh, great. So then they try to snort it.
Catalphan scientists unlocked all sorts of uses for it.
Of course.
But the things it did to those people, to the people in the mines.
What was it? That green metal.
It's called Orionite, and it was, still is, more powerful than any other substance in Solota. Fuel, power, whatever you can think of, it increases its potency 100 times over.
How many people have tried putting it on their dick? There is a more than 0% chance people are like, you know what? Increases potency, right? I'm gonna put a little bit on my dick. And then the dick immediately falls off.
But the substance is toxic. The fumes are poisonous to anyone who gets thrown in those mines, yet no one cares. Catalpha paid the ultimate price for messing with something that should have been left buried deep in the ground. But do you think that stopped them?
June stops abruptly.
They were dwarves.
June stops abruptly, his throat bobbing uncomfortably and his eyes hard. His hand twitches on the table in front of him, knuckles turning white where he clenched them tight, and his jaw gritted hard.
Oh my goodness. They're starting to
June?
climb.
I place a hand on his arm, and finally he pulls himself out from wherever the hell his past had thrown him in. His eyes glistening with unshed tears, and the rage that fills him just moments ago vanishing.
I'm sorry, Otto. I shouldn't have said so much.
My gaze drifts to his hands, and it's only now that I notice the raised marks. The old scars that cover the skin on the back of them, traveling all the way up his forearms and disappearing beneath his sleeves. Megan, is that what I think it is?
What? Scars?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're scars.
Okay. Are they what they think they are?
They're medical in nature.
Okay. Around each wrist, he wears a bracelet made of brown leather with small silver plates. I swallow around the lump in my throat. Otto's got a lot of lumps in his throat. He should probably see a fucking doctor. It's like, you got a fucking tumor in there? What's going on? There's something about June that seems so sad, and I can't even begin to imagine what kind of life he's had that has caused it.
What are you thinking?
Is this the right time to flirt? Just
doesn't.
hurl my vulva at him? Or whatever Otto has in this current time period? That would distract him.
You could flirt.
I could flirt, but is it the right... Is it gonna...
Inappropriate.
Yeah.
Just try.
I'm just gonna flirt with him and see what happens. You have nice hands.
Inappropriate.
I reach out to take one of his hands, my thumb gently tracing over those rigid lines
But then
of
I realized he
skin,
was going to need it. So I put it
wondering
back.
what might have caused them. I was thinking, you have nice hands. Sorry, that came out kind of weird. I just meant that I can feel the heat rising to my cheeks, but when June chuckles softly, I feel a little braver. What I mean is, your hands tell a story. They're strong and gentle, like you.
And just fucking covered
Laid
in
on 'em, like,
scars.
Later on, a little snip.
You forgot to add scarred.
Are we all a little scarred? Ooh!
Not as much as he is.
Auto.
I can count 1, 2, 3, 4,
Mm-hmm.
5,
On the finger?
6. Just visible scars.
Like it's
There's
right-
one there. There's an
Yeah.
X on his forearm. There's an
Yeah.
X on his other
Yeah.
forearm.
Are these scars here? 1, 2, 3.
You know what? He needs
I
some
think so.
bracers to act
Another
as a
one.
scar
Another one
guard.
over here.
He is covered in scars.
But Otto has like a +5 to their fucking charisma. If Otto played D&D,
Yeah, it's
Otto's a
called-
bard.
Yeah. Otto's the main character. They already get
Main
+5
character Riz,
charisma.
thank you. June closed his hand around mine, his smile turning soft.
Oh my.
Some more than others, maybe. But yeah, I think you're right.
I watched him for a few moments, and it suddenly occurs to me how right I was. I really don't know much about June at all. I'm about to ask him something else when a familiar voice rings out through the space.
Hey, no touching, asshole.
Our heads both snap toward the stage to find Aya being grabbed at by some guy who seems to be trying to make her dance with him. Immediately, I recognize him as the tin-faced man from earlier. June, kill! Oh no, I ran into that guy earlier, and he's trouble.
I think that's my cue.
In an instant, June is on his feet, and I follow him back towards the crowd. You're not going to get into a fight, are you?
Oh, me? No, I'm going to make sure Aya doesn't pummel the guy too badly. She's small, but she's a fighter.
She's small, but she's scrappy.
You might want to get out of here before things get ugly. I'll see you around, Otto.
I watch as June heads back to the stage, pulling the guy back by the arm at the same time as blocking Aya's fist mid-punch with his raised hand. Deciding it's probably best not to get involved in whatever's going on to happen next, I slip past the dirty red curtain and back into the club. There's only one place in the club I haven't been yet, and I'm curious to find out how Bash and Riona are amusing themselves. Sidling around the dance floor once more, I've almost made it to the curtain separating the final room from the rest of the club when I feel a sharp pointed nail tap me on the shoulder. When I turn, it's to find Oppo, looking nothing short of delighted that they've found me. They offer a strange, half-bound greeting.
I do not accept.
Greetings, Otto. How do you enjoy Oppo's club? It is the finest in Nos Vega, yes.
Oppo blinks at me a couple times, leaning forward while they wait for an answer. Oh, it's great, Oppo. I've never seen anything like it. Oppo smiles, apparently happy with the answer, as they clasp their hands in front of them and peer at me through wide yellow eyes.
Oppo is curious how you met Mr. Bash and the astrologer crew. Tell Oppo the story, yes?
Bless his little corrupt heart. Oh, well,
So many pouches.
It's like he's an RPG character who got thrown into a sci-fi game.
I'm gonna lie, because he's trying to steal me. He's always trying to steal me. Oppo seems harmless enough, but after all the warnings I've received about Las Vegas, I'm not sure I should trust him so easily. I met the crew in Siltave. They hired me in as their new, cook. After blurting out the first thing that comes to mind, I want to slap myself on the forehead. Cook? I'm sure the crew is perfectly capable of cooking for themselves.
Only like 2 members can cook. Everybody else, they just burn water. Cook? What is cook?
You know, someone who cooks food, prepares meals for the crew.
Ah, yes, Oppo knows.
I let out a breath of relief. A breath of relief?
What?
Sigh of relief. Listen, it was odd word. Listen, I read it correctly. I'm not
I let
sure
our
that the word
breath
choice is the
inside.
best in this situation.
Apples, we mean employees.
Prisoners with jobs?
Cooks for Oppo. Juicy insects with crunchy legs.
Oh, what?
I told you.
He's a gecko man. They are gecko man.
Oppo's favorite.
Oppo smacks her tongue against her teeth hungrily, and if I'd eaten dinner, I think I might have thrown it all up at the thought of eating insects.
Otto met the crew in Siltave, yes?
Yes, that's right.
Oppo hears rumors from the royal city. The king and his family murdered.
I swallowed thickly. It's a dreadful ordeal. No matter how hated the old king was, 15 lives, an entire family gone.
I have to do some fucking math. Hold on.
Oh, the thick's plotting, Megan.
I think Otto in this game has 12 siblings between 3 different mothers. I think, if I'm doing the math right.
All right, so this is your line.
But one body they cannot find, the king's youngest child. It's as if they just disappeared, yes?
Oppo's eyes narrow, and they look at me intently.
Very curious. Also considering that Oppo knows that Calderon was in the royal guard.
You think the child is still alive?
Oppo thinks if they were alive, should hide far, far away. The usurper would not let live a threat to his throne.
How would one recognize this child? If they saw them, that is.
Oppo does not know. The youngest royal children were hidden. Always hidden. Not important to be seen. Not important at all.
Oppo looks me over, and for a moment I think the conversation is over, until suddenly they speak again.
Oppo is happy Otto is here. Otto is safe in Oppo's home.
Their names are so similar. Oppo smiles at me, and although the pointed teeth give them a rather sinister look, I get the impression they mean what they say. Thank you, Oppo. With another half bow, Oppo ambles off into the crowd, and after watching them until they disappear, I continue on my way.
Oppo's just a little weirdo.
I love Oppo. Heading toward the room off to the side of the club, when I push the curtain aside, I spot Bash not too far away, seated around a half-moon table covered in crimson felt. 3 other patrons are seated at the same table, a small creature with a bored look on her face, and a beautiful Katafian couple who look far too finely dressed for a place like this.
Oh, they're slumming it with the pores.
This looks like cat meme right here. Like the way this alien is sitting at the table, it's like right in front of my salad, right in front of my poker chips.
I do like the removable second arm thing the dealers got going on.
Yeah, it's like that. It's not necessary, but it makes my life easier. Dealing a set of cards in front of each seat is a woman who, curiously, I notice has 4 arms. As I step closer to the table, I realize that while her upper arms look natural enough, the bottom are completely robotic, much like Bash's, and assist her while dealing the cards at lightning speed. Last chance to place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Bash pushes a stack of chips further onto the table, and as I step up behind him, I finally notice Royona at his side. It would be an understatement to say that the look on her face at the sight of this bet is one of pure horror.
Sebastian! That amount of money would be enough to feed the crew for a month. What are you thinking?
Bash sits back in his seat, arm folded casually over his chest, and a lopsided grin on his lips.
I know what I'm doing, Rye. This is how they draw you in, you know. You get a few wins, and then the next thing you know, it's completely gone over your head, and you end up losing everything. Next thing, you'll be betting the ship itself.
Bash snorts at her accusation, and Ryona looks less than impressed by the reaction.
And risk the unholy wrath of our dear old captain? Not likely.
I watch their argument, as if that's what this can be called, with mild amusement. It ends when Ryona crosses her arms over her chest, turning slightly away from Bash,
Yes.
and pushes her lips into what I can only describe as a pout.
An A cup is still a chest.
Forgetting the angry Talari for a moment, Bash leans closer to me, his voice an excited whisper.
I mean, that's trading bro territory.
The rules are simple, my friend. If the card shows 3 crowns, you get another draw. The hourglass represents 12. That's a high card, and this one over here.
I stare at him, utterly perplexed, and his voice fades away into nothing. What exactly about any of that is simple? Bash studies me for a moment before giving a casual shrug of his shoulders and clearing his throat intently.
Just watch what I do. You'll pick it up soon enough.
And he completely borks it. Ryona and I share a look, but the deep grooves forming on her forehead, I'd say she's less than pleased about the situation.
What, you can't afford your own look? You gotta share one?
I'm gonna try to lure him away from the table. Ryona gives me an appreciative smile, one that I return while Bash lets out an unhappy groan.
Come on, Otto. Don't be such a spoil sport. I'm just trying to show you the finer things Terranium has to offer. To be fair, Bash is from this planet.
The dealer flips another card and Bash's lips quirk further. It bears the image of a goblet.
We've got this in the bag, Otto. I hope you're ready to win some serious credits.
Practically shaking with excitement, Bash drums his fingers on the table, unblinking as his gaze follows the dealer's swift movements. The dealer flips the final card. 4 feather quills. What the fuck that means. My eyes dart to his face, expecting to find a triumphant smile, but instead I'm met with a look of pure horror.
That was supposed to be 2 crossed swords.
This young lady is the winner! Oh, I stole your line this time.
This young lady is the winner.
The dealer gestures to the small creature at the end of the table and slides a considerable amount of chips over to her, which she chirps happily at.
Now look what you've done. I told you.
Bash places a hand on her arm to calm her before she can finish her sentence, and she stops abruptly.
Relax. Enjoy yourself a little. We have enough trouble to deal with later. It's just a bit of fun, yeah? Let me buy you a drink.
I look at Ryona, who seems to anything but relaxed. In fact, she's been looking quite on edge ever since we landed on Terranium. She leans in to whisper something to Bash, and I only catch her words over the buzz surrounding us.
Don't forget what happened the last time I was on this planet.
Bash fixes his eyes on Ryona, both bionic and real.
I'd never forget.
He smiles at her for a moment, and I swear his face is softer somehow. It suddenly occurs to me how close the two of them seem, and I wonder if there's something more to their relationship than meets an eye. My eyes meet Ryona's again, and I offer a half-hearted shrug.
You get to choose.
Does this happen often? From the look on her face, I already know the answer to my question, but I ask anyway. Do these things happen a lot? Ryona laughs at the question while Bash shifts uncomfortably on his seat.
More than you'd expect. Hey, don't go around bad-mouthing me like this.
Hard to believe you disagree when you're laughing as well. Bash struggles to keep a straight face, but we all manage to calm ourselves eventually.
Next time we'll take the jackpot, you'll see. For now, though, we'd better just clear out for a while.
The dealer throws us an impatient look, and Bash ushers Ryona and I away from the table.
All I can say is it serves you right for gambling again. You know that nothing good ever comes of it. That's not true. Remember that time I won that Catalphanite bracelet in a game of cards? That thing was breathtaking.
No, you're breathtaking. Riona folds her arms over her chest, giving Bash a pointed look.
And what happened to that bracelet? I lost it in a bet. Okay, I see your point.
Riona gives him a pointed look before letting out a long, tired sigh.
You two do what you want. I'm going to go find somewhere a little quieter to wait this all out. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on the table. Jump back in when things are picking up again. With what money, Sebastian? I say go with Riona.
Yeah, let Bash make all his poor life decisions by himself. I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed in the casino. Finding a quiet spot with Riona sounds more than appealing right now. I'm going to go with Riona. It's a little too much in here for me. Stretching his arms over his head, Bash smiles at us.
See you later then. Look after each other, all right?
With a wave goodbye, Bash starts off, most likely in search for another table to join. Shaking my head, I turn to follow Riona. She makes her way across the room and back through the club. When we exit the club and step out on the street, I can't say it's any quieter than it was inside, but at least it's easier to breathe out here. Riona turns to me, a sheepish smile tilting her lips.
This place suffocates me a bit. If you want to go back in, you're welcome to.
I wanted to spend some time with you. It doesn't matter if it's in there or out here. I glance down at the street, at the vendors selling their wares from wooden stalls, and the various food carts sending plumes of scented smoke into the air. It's just as crowded as it was in the club, with all sorts of people rushing back and forth, and from our spot leaning against the front wall of the building, we can take it all in. Riona smiles at me, and I can tell she's glad that I came along.
I'm sorry if I seem difficult, but sometimes I feel like I don't fit in anywhere. You may not have noticed, but there aren't exactly a lot of Talari on this planet. Almost none, in fact. Apart from you and me, of course.
I had noticed. It would be hard not to, but I can't say that I understand why. I have to admit to myself that although I'm Talari, I know next to nothing about the people on their planet.
But you have fucking amnesia.
Mm-hmm. I'm sensing there's more to your story than you've told me. Why did you really leave Talaran? Riona silently holds my gaze, as if deciding how much she should tell me. After a moment, she bites down her lip, her bright yellow eyes fixed on the dusty ground between us.
My childhood was very strict. My father is a member of the Council of Eons, Talarian's ruling government, and my mother is the director of Satam? Satam? The largest medical facility on the planet. As I'm sure you can imagine, those are incredibly demanding and powerful positions.
Riona wrings her hands together nervously, as if waiting for some kind of reaction, but all I can do is watch how her luminescent skin wanes when she speaks, growing dimmer by the second.
They didn't have much time for me when I was growing up, but I was still expected to behave as if they were always watching because, well, there was always someone watching me. I had to be the perfect daughter, dedicated, well-mannered, disciplined, but it felt like I was a prisoner.
She lets out a soft sigh, fixing me with a worried look.
Don't get me wrong, I love my planet, but the beliefs many of the Talari have there are backwards. We used to help those who needed aid, but more often than not, travelers are being turned away and the Talari are closing themselves off from the rest of the world.
She gives me a sad smile, as if apologizing for saying so much.
We used to be better. I wanted to be better. That's why I left.
And you joined the Andromeda 6 crew?
Not quite. That happened a few years later. I traveled with a group of Talari called the Archangels. We went from planet to planet, offering aid where we could. Doctors without planetary borders, essentially. Yeah. But they...
She trails off, hands shaking at her sides, whatever memory she has been trying to ward off before her now crash over her. Her face falls in an instant, and she covers her mouth with a hand, her eyes squeezed shut tight. I step forward to put a comforting hand on her shoulder, feeling her body shake with emotion.
I'm so sorry. This planet brings back a lot of bad memories. I'd rather not talk about it right now, if you don't mind.
That's perfectly fine. I understand.
Would you like to flirt with the medic?
No.
It's like, hey, I see you're going through some emotional trauma.
I am not a fuckboy, thank you. If this place holds such bad memories, it may be better for her to be somewhere more comfortable. I can take you back to the ship if you like. Rihanna sniffles, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand and giving me a watery smile.
I'll be all right. No need to cut the night short because of me. I appreciate the thought, though. Thank you, Otto.
Rihanna takes a deep breath to compose herself, looking around the street, and I'm relieved to see that she's feeling better.
I think I'll go and have a drink with Bash after all. I should probably apologize for being so hard on him earlier.
I don't think he took it too harshly, but I'm sure he'd enjoy your company. She beams at me, her delicate features glowing under the light of the moon.
We should.
Before she finishes her sentence, 2 men walk past, their eyes visibly narrowed on the pair of us. One man, a human with corded lights weaving through his skin, steps uncomfortably close and growls in Riona's face.
Fuck off, Tulari, bitch. We don't want your kind here.
The other one, a Katafin, spits at our feet before the 2 of them stroll off, shoulders pulled back and their chests puffed out as they have just owned the very ground they tread.
Oh my god, throw something. Do it.
I'm gonna whip something at the back of their stupid heads. Looking around for the first thing I can find, my fingers clasp around a small piece of metal scrap before I hurl it toward the man, hitting him square in the back of the shoulders. The metal lands in the dirt with a clunk, and he stops in his tracks. My eyes widen, hardly believing I had even the nerve to do that. I hesitate when he storms up towards me, anger descending like a black cloud on his face, and I realize I haven't thought this plan through to the very end at all. He points a grubby finger in my face as he advances, his eyes reduced to 2 slits of eerie neon blue.
You're gonna regret doing that, you little shit.
My heart hammers in my chest as his friend rolls up his sleeves, ready for a fight. I grip my teeth, mentally preparing myself for the blow to come until a head of pale silver hair dances in front of my vision. Riona!
You'd better back off right now if you know what's good for you.
That man lets out a bellowing laugh, staring Riona down through eyes that shine with sadistic amusement.
You're in for the time of your life, lady. Is there a problem here?
Pating! My blood runs cold at the sound of the dark rasp behind us, and when I turn it's to find June staring the man down, his face thunderous and cold.
Remember,
It's like, is there a problem here?
first of all, his nickname is Cowboy. Second of all, he's 6'5". And third of all, I think he has 2 pistols
Sir,
on
I
him.
don't like the tone of your voice.
He's got 2 guns on him right now. Do you want to fuck with him?
Any glimmer of kindness is gone, replaced instead by a look I've never seen in him before, and I can't say why, but something about it terrifies me and thrills me. When June moves in front of Riona and I, shielding us from the stranger and his friend, all I can see are the muscles of his back and shoulders tensing through his clothes.
He is ripped.
Ripped! He almost seems bigger somehow, though I know that can't be possible.
You think you can take us on, pretty boy?
The man sneers at June, his lips pulled back from the straight white teeth until the Calatrian slams a hand on his friend's shoulder, pulling him back and whispering in a terrified voice.
Not this one, man. He's one of them.
The man gives his friend a quizzical look, eyebrows raised in annoyance. What are you... Can we say that, like, June in, like, attack mode is, like, deeply southern drawl to it? Like, he's gone full cowboy?
Fuck it. Yeah, let's go for it.
He's a wereboy. He's a were-cowboy.
What?
Shush.
Where, boy?
There, boy.
But when I look at June next, his eyes go wide and he backs up slowly, 1 foot behind the other, his mouth opening and closing like a goldfish. Another second later, and the 2 of them are scrambling down the street, almost falling over each other in their desperate attempt to disappear into the crowd. I let out a breath of relief, though when I look at Riona, her face is still twisted in anger I've never seen from her. June stands firmly fixed to the spot, the only signs of movement are the way his shoulders rise and fall with short, shallow breaths. June? I step toward him, hand outstretched and my heart pounding in my ears.
August?
My throat tightens uncomfortably, a wave of unwarranted nausea and terror snaking through my veins. Whatever those men had seen in June, it had shaken them to their core, and I wasn't so sure I wanted to know why. When he finally turns, the ghost of his eerie smile slides back into place, though it doesn't quite reach his eyes this time. I let out the breath I'd been holding in, my shoulders slumping in relief as relief floods through me, and as if finally remembering what had brought him here. June's eyebrows dip in worry.
I was looking for the two of you everywhere. We need your help inside. It's Ayame.
Riona throws an alarmed look on her before hurrying back into the club, but before I can do the same, June stops me with a hand on my arm.
Are you okay, Otto?
I nod, pushing down whatever curiosity is gnawing at me to discover what those two men had so terrified of him. I'm fine. Don't worry about me, June. I smile, trying to assure him that I really am okay, and when he finally relents with a nod of his head, we head back to the club together.